Okay. I'm calling the meeting to order at 6 p.m. on Sunday, the 27th. Let's see. Discussion of meeting logistics. There's no one here to talk to about that, so we'll come back to this if need be. No representatives present, so do you have any public comments?
There is no public comment.
Okay, we move on. All right, so discussion of the situation. So the homeless count happened for the first time last week on the 22nd. I wish I could have done it. Tuesday is a weird day to run it instead of a weekend when people don't have to work. But oh well. At least it finally got done. But since it wasn't until middle of February, and usually we get the results early summer, late spring, I'm expecting we'll get the results mid to late summer. So probably closer to like August. And that'll come up again in the next item anyway. And then, you know, there's still a question of how much we trust the results. Like, I was looking at the numbers. In April of 2019, LAUSD had identified 17,494 students experiencing homelessness. Like, actually, here I can share the screen. So 17,494 students experienced homelessness, and this was up from the previous month. So they seem to do these like by a monthly basis. And that same year, the homeless count only identified up to 5,598 minors that were 18 and under. And it's not even clear if it was this 5,000 or this 4,000, because they list in the general count this 4,995 that are in families, and then in the youth count they listed 603 that are under either unaccompanied minor or are minors within a household being parented by other minors. So it's not really clear if this 4,995 includes this 603 or if they're separate. So in the best case, you add them together and you get this 5,598, and that's still like less than a third of the actual number that LAUSD had a couple months later. So even the months before that, it had been like 17,200 something. So in March. So I don't think that we suddenly jumped 11,000 students in 2 months. It's just they're not counting them for some reason. And we can all speculate as to why that is. But if we're undercounting just this one category that massively, like, minors account for a, no pun intended, minor portion of the 60,000 plus homeless that we counted in 2020. So if we're off by this much with just this one group, how much are we off by with the rest of them? And so I think the homeless count is good. I think it gives us a lot of data, but I think we're missing something. Something's misfiring there. So we don't know how much worse the problem is than whatever numbers we're going to get. The other thing I want to mention, where is it? So we just, LA City just did this audit. Did you hear about the audit? You heard about it?
One more time, Brandy.
The LA City just did an audit of the Triple H bond money.
Right.
Did you hear about that?
Yeah, I did hear about that. It's still they are discussing about it.
Yeah, the figures came back.
Yeah.
And they said that we are spending, let's look at the numbers. What was it? I have the numbers up here. Here it is. We are spending about $837,000 per unit. It's from an article yesterday.
Right.
the average cost originally per single apartment was 350,000. Now it's close to like between 600 and 800,000, basically. The audit also found that although 10,000 units were promised, only 8,000 will be delivered, and so far only 1,042 have been completed.
Wow.
It's been 6 years, and we've got 1,000 units. And Garcetti's still insisting, like in a tweet, he responded to the audit in the last few days saying, let's be clear, Triple H is producing more units than promised at a lower cost than expected. There are already 1,200 units online providing critical housing and services, which is not the number that the audit apparently found. And Triple H will deliver over 10,300 units of supportive and affordable housing by 2026. So I don't know how the math works out there. In 6 years, we got a slightly over 1,000, and we're like only on track for up to 8,000. And he's saying in 4 years, we're going to jump over 9,000 units. So I don't know where his numbers are coming from. Like, I don't know if there's numbers we're just not seeing, if his data is out of date and just doesn't correspond with what the audit says, if the audit missed something, or if his statement is just entirely wishful thinking and hopes and prayers and not like actual numbers. It says that of the voters, I'm looking at the ABC report on it. The voters approved $1.2 billion for bonds. The city has issued 575 million, so not quite half of it. And last count, only 350 million of those dollars had actually been spent. So that means we're closer to $1 billion not spent, and like less than half of it even earmarked. So I guess it's good. It means there's still money there when we've been told that Triple H was over and done with, but it doesn't look like it's earmarked, unless they mean it's earmarked for something else that aren't bonds. But no, that money's supposed to be specifically for bonds. Anyway, that's kind of the current situation that we're sitting on. And that doesn't even account for the issues with expiring extensions on rents and all of that. The numbers will be interesting to see.
So regarding the homeless count, this year, some of the council members, they invited and they did outreach to the community. We used the app. We had a training actually for the app before going in the streets, and they divided us into different groups.
Okay.
It was very successful.
Good.
They will release the numbers. They didn't specify the date, but it's going to be more quicker. And then after they release, they will find out what is next for them. Because now that count actually did help to identify their locations and also where they are. Okay. It was very good. I mean, I did it all day. And then we finished about 10 p.m.
Nice.
In whole, our group, it was about 58 or 68 volunteers. And we got divided into groups and in cars. And some of us council members like Paul Kerkorian, Bob Bloomfield, they were more involved in the community. And also there were county representative. She actually was making sure that we are following the protocol. But it was very good, very, very good.
Hey. Did they make any comments to you guys about why they chose to move it to a Tuesday?
So one more time.
Did they did they comment at all on why they chose to put it on a Tuesday instead of on a weekend?
Yeah, there was actually an internal vote in the city council, and that was not a public. 98%
Oh, I
they
missed
wanted
that.
Tuesday, and Friday it's almost impossible. Thursday
Okay.
was they were not sure, but they found out that the Tuesday they will have more numbers to do the count, as well to they can move more freely
Hmm.
that day.
Okay, so there were more volunteers willing to do Tuesday than the weekend.
Yes,
Okay,
yes,
that's fair. That's
yeah.
fair. Okay, that's cool. I hope the numbers come back very close to accurate this time. That's
Yeah,
hopeful.
everything has been done already by the app, so there
Yeah.
should not be any confusion. This is not a
Okay.
handwritten. The only thing that there was a handwritten one application and a signature by you, myself, and the other volunteers.
Okay. All right.
So,
Cool. Mhm. All right. So let's move to the big thing. I want to set up a town hall. The county supervisor's office said they would support us and participate. So I think that's good because I really do want to, and I already told them this, I want to talk about how we can improve county services so that people can, like, I did my whole spiel for them. Look, if I call because my mom has collapsed in pain on the floor and I can call 911 and they send somebody who then triages her as a professional to say, hey, she's had a heart attack or she's had or something. But if there's somebody who's homeless and I call, first of all, it takes forever to find a number, and then it might take forever to get a hold of somebody. And if I do, it's okay, answer these 20 questions you might not know. Like, are they a veteran? Are they on drugs? Are they like, there's all these questions that I have to answer before somebody else who's in trouble can get help. Instead of, hey, there's a person here who needs help, send somebody who's an expert in this to deal with the person and help them however they need and triage the situation on the ground, as opposed to like, oh, well, if you think they're a veteran, you should actually call this other number. If you think they're on drugs, call this number. If you think they're a medical emergency, call this different number. Like, we need one service, we need one number, and that needs to take care of it without having to parse things for whatever person calls, whether they themselves are unhoused or they're calling on behalf of someone who's unhoused, because they might be calling for somebody they see that they're worried about, and that person might not be able to communicate with them.
right.
Like, we don't know. And it needs to be done not through whoever shows up to help should not be armed. We don't need somebody with a gun showing up. We need somebody with expertise showing up to help
Right.
figure out the situation.
Right.
So they liked that, and I think that's one thing we can talk about. I think this audit is something we should talk about. The other thing comes down to there was a discussion end of last summer when I wasn't on the board from people saying they wanted to do a town hall about this. So
Right.
it's already been like 6 months, and I said I would do it. So right now it's a question of, do we do a town hall now soon because the county supervisor is interested and we've just changed all of our electeds around, so it's good to get the electeds kind of integrated into their new group while they're still motivated to learn about us and get started? Or do we wait until the count comes back, which could be at like late summer?
So am I this is Shula Kuhl office?
Yeah, there's Sheila Kuehl. We also inherited Congressman Garcia.
Mike Garcia?
Yeah, so instead of being in Brad Sherman's district, like my part of Porter Ranch at least is now within Garcia's district. So we've had those two changes.
Okay.
I don't think we've changed other districts. I think we're still under Henry Stern and Suzette. I don't think that our AD or SD changed, but our CD changed and our county district changed.
Right.
So it's good. And I don't think, I'm pretty sure our LASD district also didn't change.
It
But
might change.
what?
It should change because LUSD, they are changing a lot.
Oh, do you think we're not going to have Scott anymore? Schmerlson?
Yeah, I don't believe so.
Whose district do you think will be in?
It will be probably Nick Melbourne, maybe. I'm not sure.
Hmm.
So I know that what's his name? Mike Garcia is more congressman,
Yeah.
and I'm not sure that he provides anything to do with the homelessness.
Well, he usually sends a representative who talks to our group, and I think
Yeah.
he probably, like, Sherman was interested. He worked with us, so I feel like it's likely, because there are issues on the federal side, that he might want to have a representative show up for a town hall for us. Oh, there's another attendee here. Excellent. Call in user. I will allow you to talk so you can introduce yourself. Call. Hello, call in user.
Hi, my name's Carolyn, and I'm a resident of Porter Ranch.
Welcome.
Thank you.
So we're currently, because it ended up being a small group showed up, we went through it pretty quickly. We're currently talking about the possibility of setting up a town hall. But I can back up if you have any public comments, or if you have any questions about the current situation. I can go over those things again.
Oh, I don't want you to do that, but I appreciate willingness. You can go on. No problem.
Okay. Well, thank you. I will leave you in the ability to talk so we can be more open. Yeah, we're talking about trying to set up a town hall. So I feel like it, especially with the supervisor, now that we are under a new supervisor's office and they are openly stating that they want to get involved with us on these issues, and a lot of the service issues tend to be on the county side as much as they are on the city side. I feel like maybe we should try to do a town hall sooner so we can address the issues, especially with the audit just coming out. Like, it feels like the issue is kind of fresh. We can address the Triple H bond. We can address where we're at in things with Project Room Key. We can get answers to questions I know a lot of people have as things are starting to wind down with the pandemic. I kind of don't want to wait for the new homeless count numbers to come in, because I am concerned they won't come in until like August.
Right.
But I want other people's opinions. Like, what do you think, Nidan? Should we try it sooner or wait?
No, we should do it. We should not delay it. It's a great idea because this is nothing to do with the count. It's to do about finding a solution and how and what are the steps to have the homelessness.
Mhm.
And if Shura Cure office have made a commitment, that's good. And do you know who is the representative that you reach out?
I've been talking to Tessa, but I imagine there'll be more than one person from her office that we'll end up working with. But she's the one I discussed the matter with previously.
Okay.
And yeah, so there's a definite interest from their side.
Okay, so is Shura Cure the only representative for the Porter Ranch, or is there any other county?
I think we're now entirely under Sheila Kuehl's district. So like I think all of Porter Ranch is now, I could be wrong. I'm having a hard time getting accurate maps, and we've been asking different places for that. But I think it is now the case that we are entirely under Sheila Kuehl's office and entirely under Garcia's office, as opposed to like before where we were split between Garcia and Sherman.
Right.
And before, I think there was a split for Barger, and I'm not entirely sure if there was a split or if we were just all under Barger, but I think those changes have happened. So we have this new freshness of like, all right, let's introduce ourselves to our new electeds and get on board of what the goals are to get services to be better and get answers to questions on both sides.
Right.
I'm sure, because they're coming in new to our district, they're probably like they have been very much of, hey, so what are your issues? What are your opinions? What are your needs? And I think giving the community the chance to kind of answer that is a good thing.
I believe the county would be more helpful because this is a very different issue. It's also a mental health issue. It's also many other problems, but I think that 90% the county has more the tools than the congressman or the assemblyman. It's my opinion. But if we do it with the county supervisor and we invite the county supervisor with other representatives, that would be a good town hall where they can discuss.
Yeah, I mean, I would definitely invite everybody. So of course, John Lee, of course, Sheila Kuehl's office, and then also our assemblywoman's office and our state senator's office and our congressman. Like, I won't invite Padilla because that feels like overkill. Not that he wouldn't be allowed to show up, but especially since he used to be our neighbors. But I'm sad he moved. Hey, if he decides to show up, that's great. If Kamala Harris wants to show up, I'm not going to say no to her or Biden or anybody that wants to show up. They're free to show up as elected representatives. But I think it's not out of the realm of likelihood to get representatives from the assembly, the state senate, and the congressman's office. I think that makes sense. But I think the core necessity is city and county.
Who's the assemblywoman?
Valadares.
Okay, so
Yeah.
Assemblywoman Valadares, Shura Kir office, and Mike Garcia office.
Yeah, and then John Lee's office, of course.
Okay, so John Lee office. Maybe
I was gonna say I'll also reach out. Like, I'll talk to the councilman's office, but I'll also reach out to the mayor's office, and of course we can reach out to Lhasa and that as well, and try to get see who all is interested in being part of it, because there haven't been, to my knowledge, a lot of town halls anywhere in our area talking about homelessness since the pandemic started.
Okay, so maybe from the mayor's office, you can invite the representative for the homeless liaison.
Yeah.
That's number one. I don't know who is the person now because I know that they changed.
They did. They changed.
Yeah, they changed. You have a new representative. So from mayor's office, Mike Garcia, the assemblywoman, and the supervisor. I think this would be good. Maybe you can make a motion and bring it on the board so they can approve it, and then we can start work on the planning structure.
Okay. And I'll add state seven. Yeah. Okay. So then the question is when? That's a.
If you remember, you can say TBD and to be determined, time to be determined.
We can.
Yes.
I mean, but more like, what month do we want to aim for?
So you need 30 days from the power array to.
Yeah.
Okay, right. So we are February, maybe during April.
Yeah, I think April, maybe late April, just to be sure. If we still have access to, late April. If we still have access to Zoom, it might behoove us to do it as a remote town hall because we are more likely to get more people to show up that way.
So until the end of the year, there is nothing, it's not going to change. Everyone is going to use Zoom.
There was a statement at our last NC meeting that supposedly that like basically the city rumor was that they were going to start phasing out remote in April. I don't know how likely that is.
When
I
you say
think-
remote, do you mean on Zoom or how it is?
Well, okay, so there's the consideration of whether or not the pandemic is really winding down. And for those who believe so, they want to see us go back to being all in person.
Mhm.
And the idea was, this is back in February, that if Omicron was winding down, then that would mean we could start heading toward this. There are, of course, concerns about BA2 and spring break in March. So it could end up having another spike that reaffirms us being online. But I
Mhm.
kind of want to prepare for both circumstances as to whether we're doing in person or online. Because if we're doing online, things are very easy. We don't have to get a location. We don't have to get permits for things. We don't have to deal with volunteers or parking. And if we're able to do remote, even when people are back in person, then it just becomes kind of a preference discussion as to, well, this is easy and we can set it up, or we've already set it up this way. The only problem comes down to if the city has like maybe revoked our remote accounts by then, but I don't think they would do that right off. I don't think they would do that immediately.
Your current account for the neighborhood council, if I'm not mistaken, is up to 1,000 attendees.
Is what?
Up
I
to
missed
1,000 attendees.
up to 1,000. Yeah. So I think that's plenty for what we've seen from town halls in the past.
Right.
We never get that many people.
I
Yeah.
had, I will tell you 90% to 10% it's going to still using Zoom.
The what?
It will be via Zoom.
You want to be Zoom? Yeah.
Right. There are some office representatives, they need to obey the mandate by the county, like the city of Los Angeles.
Mhm.
They will be hesitant maybe to come in person.
I see.
And I believe the Zoom is going to be easy, as you mentioned. And then we just to work on the quick structure, the background, who is going to moderate the event.
Yeah.
We need a moderator that we can find out.
I think we need. I think it like it makes sense for us as the homeless chair, the homeless committee, to have to have the chair be. And I'm just going to say the chair because like if I die tomorrow, I'm not the chair anymore. But whoever's the chair, I think should be one of at least two moderators, and then the other moderator might want to see if we can get somebody. I don't know, namey or cool, like somebody who's kind of an MC type, like a radio person or something. Those have worked well in the past. There's also there's a couple other considerations for timing. One is that there's another town hall that we're talking about doing before the elections because of the mayor's election in particular. So I don't know when. I think Jason will be running that, and I don't want to run into it. Like we wouldn't want to have two town halls the same time or in the same week because that would be a lot. So I can check with him, but he hasn't brought it to the board yet. So I have to assume that if we do April, it'll be like right around the time we should be safe.
Is that meeting to do with the PRNC or it's going to come to something else?
Well, he's been talking about it, but he hasn't officially had us vote on doing it yet.
And what is the name of the meeting and what is trying to accomplish?
Well, he wants to do another town hall like we used to do that was take all the candidates for city positions and debates. So probably I know for the mayor's office, probably also for comptroller. That was the idea, to have like another town hall debate thing with all the candidates so that the community can meet them. But my point is that I don't want to have those two things be at the same time. Given when the election is, I'm guessing that would probably be more midsummer, considering what you normally do. So I think we'd be safe with late April. Let me look at, also checking another thing for dates to make sure we don't run into anything. Obviously not April 15th. We don't want to run into holidays for any people. Okay. Looking at this. Okay. The 22nd to the 1st. Okay, so I'm looking at my personal schedules. Because I know when there's a lot of work for me to do at work, which is at the end of one semester and the start of the other, and April is when we switch. So the last day of ours is the 22nd, and it starts on the 1st. I mean, really, it starts on the 2nd because nobody has a Sunday class. So I think if we did like the 30th, that Saturday, or the 1st of May, that's a weekend, so it gives people a lot of time to show up, but allows me to not get overwhelmed on my work schedule. Does that sound good for you?
Yeah, that sounds good to me. I mean, this is good. I'm excited about this motion.
Okay, and we'll adjust it if like the elected officials can't show up. I mean, I'm just saying on a Saturday, but like we can adjust it to a Friday night, Thursday night, whatever makes sense for them. But Saturdays have been pretty successful.
Okay. Good.
Any thoughts from our other attendee?
Oh, thank you. I like all your ideas.
Oh, that's very sweet of you. I appreciate that.
I was waiting to see what you were going to say about Easter, not to do it on Easter Sunday as well.
Yeah. So I'm like looking for different holidays. Go, nope.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. I will hopefully have my son out hunting eggs that day. So no for me too. Okay, cool. So that looks like that covers things. Sure, it's another holiday I have to consider. Okay, and that's also not that weekend. Okay, good. So yeah, we're missing all the good holidays that we need to miss. Okay, cool. All right, so we're talking about who we want to invite. We're talking about what date. I think I was going to say we could start talking about topics, but I think that'll kind of depend on who agrees to show up, because if we don't have people from the county office, it doesn't really make sense to talk about county services. If we don't have anybody from the state side, it doesn't make sense to talk about state issues.
Right.
The one that could be an interesting thought is one of the areas that has impacted our laws and abilities to do things the most has come from judges.
Mhm.
And we don't have much of a say in it, but I wonder if we can get anybody to come from the court side of things to talk about legal implications or any particular. I don't know if there's any lawsuits ever. There was the Boise lawsuit and the attempts to appeal against it that lost, and that what was it called? Name of the case. I keep calling it the Boise case. It's the Martin v. Boise case. So that was the 2018 decision by the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals that said that you cannot force an encampment to leave from a not dangerous area. I mean, if somebody's pitching a tent in the middle of a highway, then yeah, they're going to die. So that's an endangerment. But you can't make them leave an encampment that's not in immediate danger unless you have actual shelter, immediate safe shelter for them to go to. And so then in 2019, the Supreme Court declined the appeal of that. They didn't even hear it, which meant it was a standing order. And there was, I know in 2021, there was some kind of settlement that people had to pay because they had failed to abide by it. I don't think there's any current pushes back, any current new appeals or anything on that. But that was a big talking point for a while, even in our board, and some community members asking, why aren't we doing this? Why aren't we doing that? And that might be something that John Lee's office can address because it impacted them directly. And so, you know what? I'll ask John Lee's office, because they might have somebody that they want to have talk about it, or they might be able to suggest somebody from the LA court system come and talk about it and give us kind of that legal purview. Because that tends to be something we miss in a lot of these town halls. We talk about numbers, we talk about services, we talk a little bit about laws as far as the electeds ideas, but we don't usually talk about the legal court side of things and the precedents that's set. Or that could be something only I care about. I don't know.
We can discuss about the topics when
Once we get it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I can put in a motion for the March, March, I had to think for a minute, the March meeting about doing this town hall in late April with the TBD. If we do it remote, then we shouldn't need a budget, but I'll ask for like a $500 contingency budget with the assumption I'm going to spend zero and not actually use it, but just in case something happens, like we can't use remote anymore and we have to find a place all of a sudden, I don't want to have to reschedule it. So I'd rather just have the money to do whatever permitting we need to.
You can, but I think that your Zoom account, the neighborhood Zoom accounts, it's adjustable.
Yeah, I think so. I think if
the safe side.
Yeah. It's just better, I think, to have, like, it's better to have the money available and not use it and just return it to the council for better use later than it is to run into something and not have the funds to take care of the need that you have at the time. But I'll talk to Jason about it, because I'd have to set up what the budget is, and the budget would be entirely just in case. I'll break it down for like what just in case expenses might be, because if we had to move from remote to in person, it would be like, paying for whatever expenses we need for the location and food, and maybe help with parking, like those minor expenses like we do for other events.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Okay, in that case, I will formally make the motion that that we approve sending this to the March PRNC board to have a town hall in late April about the homeless and unhoused community issues in Port
So we
Orange.
are going to say discussion and possible action to host a town hall meeting. I guess you need to say also town hall meeting but virtually.
Not to exceed $500.
Not to exceed $500, and the participant will be the county supervisor office Shiraku, the congressman Mike Garcia, and the assemblywoman.
I wouldn't list out I wouldn't list them out. I would say for electeds and the community to discuss the issues.
Okay.
Yeah. Issues and solutions.
Okay, perfect. So this is your motion then.
Okay. All in favor of my motion?
I am.
Or yeah.
Well, first of
Yep.
all, second.
You have to second it, yeah.
Yes.
Okay, you second it. All in favor.
Yes.
All right, discussion. Yay, aye, okay. All right, aye. That passes unanimous. All right, cool. So there's that. All right, and then item 7 is just chair's comments, which, now that I'm back on the board, now that I'm in charge of the committee again, and now that I'm able to do the committee hearings again, I want to start doing more meetings, and there are like 3 other people that wanted to make it and then couldn't. So we need to find more people to be actively part of the committee, because we've grown and shrunk and grown and shrunk, and then kind of everything died in the pandemic. So which is unfortunate, because that's right when everything got really bad. So not like it wasn't bad before, but but yeah, those are my comments. So I appreciate everybody taking time out of their Sunday to be a part of this, and we will have many more meetings to hopefully put together this town hall. The next board meeting is, I believe, the 9th, so in a little under week and a half, and then we'll know if the town hall is approved, and if it is, we can meet maybe that weekend, on maybe the weekend of the 12th or 13th, and start talking about more details. In the meantime, the minute that it's approved, I'll start reaching out to the different elected offices just to confirm with Sheila Kuehl's office, and to reach out to the other ones.
Let me know if you need help.
Sorry, you cut out on my end. What?
I said, let me know if you need help as well.
I appreciate that. I do. Oh, wow. Okay, I'm gonna go back. I also forgot we should bring in our LAUSD office, because they have a homelessness issue. So I'm gonna add Scott to the
I will
list.
talk to him.
Yeah.
I can reach out to him. It's not a problem.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, sure. We both have his phone number, so he's a good guy. Okay, cool. I will add that and pretend like I didn't forget that one. Okay. And that should be it for today. So I thank you all for coming, and call meeting adjourned.
Thank you so much.